You're listening to Flying Casual, a Star Wars podcast. Here's your host, Michael Canterbury.
Wow, thank God Holly just said to hit the record button or we wouldn't have had a podcast this week.
That's right.
Woo! Friends, happy Mandalorian Friday to you. I hope this is a pleasant start to your weekend and a happy, post-Thanksgiving to you all. I hope you all had a pleasant holiday with hopefully just your close family. Maybe no one. I mean, I would advise against, having large gatherings, but I guess that advisement is a little too late. But I do hope you all had a pleasant Thanksgiving. And, I guess I would say the gravy on all this Thanksgiving has been the Mandalorian, Holly, on this Black Friday. But how are you doing this evening? You wearing the proper attire?
Yeah.
Brought that puppy out of retirement,
That's right.
I guess.
Had to bring out my Ahsoka shirt.
Been a while.
It just felt appropriate,
Yeah.
I guess I would say.
Yeah.
It felt, for the occasion.
Yeah, we'll put it back in the closet for 2022 when there's another Ahsoka appearance.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be the only time that the Ahsoka shirt will make an appearance. I'll say every single time Ahsoka makes an appearance on the show, not our show, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
On The Mandalorian, I would wear my Ahsoka shirt.
That sounds great. So it's not going to get a lot of use, is what you're saying. That sounds fantastic.
Probably not. I'm worried about it getting stained, so I think we'll just...
That's fair.
I'm a sloppy beer drinker, so...
We'll get you an Ahsoka bib.
Ahsoka bib.
Yeah, Ahsoka
I
bib
think that
for the
sounds
shirt.
good.
Yeah, well, at least we're not burning it after this episode. Are we agreeing on that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. We're also here, not at the table, but via Skype. The Elder One. Mr. Elder, is that a cup of Earl Grey, or what are we having to relax on this Mando Friday?
Oh, this is just a little bit of a hot toddy to get cozy and comfy with Grogu and my pals.
It kind of looks like a Grogu mug. If I'm looking at, if you look at the mug, the top of it's green. It looks like it has ears. He's got his brown cloak on. I'm not sure why none of us saw that was Jedi attire that Grogu has been wearing the whole time. Right? I mean, he's probably just missing his robe. That's it. Should have seen it coming the whole time. But that's okay. That's okay. Guys, that's not the only one here on the podcast. You guys asked for it, and we made it happen. We have a Chewy cam going right now. Now, that thing is not frozen, no, and it won't be frozen for the next hour, but that is our in-house Star Wars dog / Wookiee. We're not really sure what he is. We just, brought him in and said, you need a home. So, and he stayed here the whole time.
We call that a Heinz 57. It's
like
a little
mixture,
bit of,
bit of you're not really sure what it is.
Yeah.
We know there's ketchup in there, but there's also something else that just
he's
sweetens
my
it up
little
a little.
ketchup dog.
Yeah, I mean it's so he's probably not going to move. So
he's a little camera shy. He built himself a wall as soon as he realized that the camera was going on him. He put this little blanket wall there. He doesn't want to be seen. He
was really enjoying the mood lighting there by his bed until he realized there were cameras on him.
Yeah, he liked it. It was gray and then a slightly different shade of gray.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of shades, so we'll see where he goes tonight. Who knows? He may do tricks. I don't. He probably will leave us here to go to the bed momentarily. We'll see what happens. But you asked for it. You got a Chewy cam, and let us know if you're in the chat if everything sounds good. I know last week we had a bit of a debacle where I was just talking to myself, and like Luke said, his thoughts were going into the ether until you guys let us know that we had some audio issues there. But hopefully
have
it's all
no
figured out.
fear, because I'm here this week, and I've already reminded Michael to start recording, so we have the audio.
Thank God.
And everything's working out fine.
Let's hope so. I mean, it's 15 minutes later, and someone in the chat says, I actually can't hear anything you're saying.
Well,
sorry, I just had to make a bathroom run, and I can't hear anything.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, thank God our in-house techie, Holly, which makes no sense to me, but she's claimed that position here on the podcast. But, guys, it was a much-anticipated episode. Chapter 13, The Jedi. I mean, leaks galore. For the Mandalorian, even the title this week, it was leaked out. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm getting off social media. I think I'm off Twitter. I think I'm discontinuing the Twitter, Holly.
Twitter,
I can't with it anymore.
Twitter is like extremely exhausting for
Yes.
me. I feel like I get so excited, and I saw somebody say this on Twitter today.
Come on.
And I was like, the irony of you talking about Twitter while tweeting, but I just feel like it sucks the energy right out of me.
Yeah.
I can enjoy something, and I get on Twitter, and there's like
gone 80
million people being like, here are all the reasons why you shouldn't enjoy what you just thought you enjoyed. I'm like, God.
Yeah, it's a dark place. And I mean, no one, being considerate of anyone watching the show not at 3 a.m. on Friday. So shame on all you, Star Wars content creators who are doing that. It's just like, give people a chance. Not everyone has the day off. Not everyone, gets to watch it. Like, give them a break. Come on. Anyway, Luke, how was your Thanksgiving, man? We didn't really get to catch up much. A big bird, a big porg, or what did we eat?
Yeah, a little side of smoked porg, roasted on the spit. No, it's a good time with the wife and the kids, and some home decor improvement projects.
Let's go.
Did some work on Thanksgiving. I normally like to cook a lot, but this Thanksgiving was a little different, and I left the cooking to the missus, and I was working on a wall.
He was building a wall, folks. No, not the one at the southern border.
And the city was going to pay for it.
Westerville paying for that wall, Luke? Is that what I'm hearing?
Last time I checked, nope.
That's unfortunate.
As it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good holiday, even if there was manual labor involved. Holly and I also knocked out some stuff. But I hope all you guys, I get that it's kind of a weird time, and some people are a little frustrated by everything. And it's one Thanksgiving. If you want to see your family again, probably should have kept some distance. My dad actually just got out of the emergency room at the hospital from COVID. So I know now, I already knew how serious it was, but when it's someone that you care about and it adds even more perspective. So please be careful. Please wear a mask. Please do not go into large gatherings. We are going into a very dark winter. No, that is not a Game of Thrones reference. It's going to get scary out there, guys. And I live back in a small town where there's not a whole lot of interaction, and it's everywhere now. So please take care of yourselves and be careful, or it will hit home. So yeah, we're talking about Chapter 13, The Mandalorian, the Jedi. Luke, I want to go to you at the beginning. We had high hopes. Everyone knew. It seemed everyone knew that Ahsoka was going to be in here. I mentioned to Holly last night, I was like, I don't want to be like a dick, but I was kind of hoping that we didn't see Ahsoka in this episode. Everyone's like, are you kidding me? How could they do? I was kind of hoping for that, and like not a completely menacing way, but it just would have been kind of funny. But what did you think? Just kind of off the bat, kind of general thoughts.
A lot of heavy emotions going in. This was, other than the premiere of the entire series, the most anticipated episode of The Mandalorian ever for me. And I know we were texting yesterday, and I was saying, like, maybe I'll try to stay up until 3 a.m. tonight to catch this thing right away. But I knew I could never make it. So I was super excited, nervous at the same time about Ahsoka making this transition from animation to live action. Confident in Filoni and Favreau with their history of putting out quality material and just getting Star Wars, and obviously Filoni just nurturing this character from the get-go. So many emotions and so much anticipation going into it, and it flat out delivered, and it exceeded my expectations. I thought just the visual, like she looked great, and the opening scene was some of the best like action in Star Wars, and what an introduction for her in live action. This stealth sort of taking out of this guard, and the only time they see her is when she ignites the blades, and the blades looked gorgeous, and then she's gone like a ghost when she turns them off, and then she reappears again. It was so much more than I had hope for.
I'm pretty sure that those laser swords, those white laser swords, actually burned into our television, Holly. So, spoiler alert there. If you see permanent laser swords on any show you're watching, I think it actually burned into the screen. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe that's an LCD thing. But, Holly, you also had high hopes, but we're proceeding with caution, I think, like myself, and Luke as well, a little concerned. Hey, here's a character that's been around for over a decade, and their first appearance is happening here in live action. We think we know who we're getting. There's maybe some concern there as well, but after watching it twice now, that's a great thing about having the day off. Get to watch it twice. What'd you think?
Well, Ahsoka is one of my all-time favorite characters, so I was like, anything that she's going to be in, I want it to be perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And I get, like, trust Dave Filoni. This is his character. He knows her inside and out. He created her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think sometimes, you know, the people who create the character don't always do the best job of keeping up with that, maintaining that character. But I was a little bit surprised. I think sometimes it's hard when you make the jump, like Luke said, from animation to live action. It's a little bit different than we've experienced with some of the other characters where you're going from live action to animation. I feel like when you do it live action first and then you get them in animation, it's a little bit easier to recognize the character and kind of, you know, get on board with it.
Yeah.
So I think the second time around, I was like, yeah, I can feel this. This is fine. But the first time was just a little bit surprising to me. I think I was a little bit startled just because, you know, you have an idea in your head of what this character will look like live action. And if it isn't exactly what you imagined it being, that's okay.
Yeah.
You just have to, you know, it's one of those things you have to get used to. I saw a lot of people saying, I wish that it had been Ashley Eckstein who was playing Ahsoka.
I mean,
that's fine. Yeah. If she had been interested in doing that, but
she may hate live action television.
She may. See, that's what I thought. But I think any bias is aside from whatever, you know, Rosario Dawson is doing in her life. If I'm going to separate her from this character of Ahsoka, I think she did a great job with Ahsoka. Yeah. Overall, I think that, you know, this is an older version of Ahsoka that we're not super familiar with, so I think that there's always going to be a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I liked her appearing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We're getting weird NDI feedback, I think, so we'll have to, we'll maybe it's not even actually going in there, it's just on the board here, but we'll figure that out. I don't even think it's Luke because I turned him down. Anyway, yeah, so you have to go into these, whatever it is. It's if you're really attached to something and there's new stories coming out about it, whatever it is, it happens in every fandom. You have to really go in with your expectation. You have to go with no expectations. You have to go in, either you enjoy it or you don't. People got burned in The Last Jedi. This is not my Luke Skywalker. Why wasn't he bringing down Star Destroyers? He looks like an idiot. Like, give me a real badass, you know, Luke Skywalker. And you were on Twitter today, Holly. Were there any "that's not my Ahsoka" people out there? Is that were we hearing some of that today?
Yeah. People were really upset. They're like, this Ahsoka is out of character. Yeah. This is not who she is. And I know that we had a few conversations. I think, Michael, you said the first thing that you said was, oh, my God, she's like a killing machine. Yeah. But you have to take a step back and realize that this is post Ahsoka having her second confrontation with Darth Vader and realizing that it's Anakin. Yeah. I mean, we've already seen her in a dark place in the Ahsoka novel, and now we're seeing it right in front of our eyes. She's in a really dark place because everything she thought she knew had been shattered, and then she feels like she's the one left cleaning up the pieces, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what I think she might be going through. I think there's a lot of trauma and there's a lot of emotional baggage there. Yeah. And so I don't think it's practical to think, oh, she's going to be the same, like, snips that we saw in the Clone Wars. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, but it's difficult to not, because we've been with her for so long, right? And she's been portrayed in a very innocent, hey, I'm in the middle of a crisis here. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to not kill anyone. And then in this opening scene, and it's great that we can talk about it because it was the opening scene, and we'll just get right into it. It was a little jarring for me. It was a little jarring because
it wasn't that long ago in season 7 of the Clone Wars, she herself said, "I'm not going to try to kill anybody here. Like, let's try and save lives and avoid killing anyone." And then here it's just brutal. But you're right. You have to have that perspective of she's gone through a lot since then. She has had a lot of time to process that, a lot of time to assumingly learn new things about the Jedi. I don't recall Ahsoka really holding anyone's hand at any moments and almost reading their mind. So she's had a lot of time to sit on this stuff, but it's obvious that the most recent we had saw her was in the end of Rebels, but she didn't really say anything there after all that time had passed. So we didn't know where her mental state was.
Yeah, I would like to get into that in a little bit too, because I think I need someone to clarify the timeline for me. But in the chat, Wade said Ahsoka was a total badass in this episode, and I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And then Nettie said, there was a moment in the Clone Wars when Ahsoka beheads 4 Death Watch members at one time. So she's always been a killing machine if she wants to.
Yeah, come on. Nettie put me in my place. You're right. You know, when the moment calls for it. And she's on this planet that's being decimated by this former Imperial, it seems. So yeah, it's what else can she do? It was epic. She was like a shadow. You know, and it really was great. She'd turn off those laser swords, and she was gone. And I love that we're calling them laser swords. Let's never call them lightsabers ever again. I'm down for that. So, Luke, were you you mentioned that scene was epic. Did it throw you off though? Were you like, whoa, this is a different Ahsoka? And I mean, rightfully so for the time period, but also even if we're just looking at like this is a different actress getting into the role. You know, hey, let her go do her own thing. Let her make it her own.
Yeah, that didn't throw me off. I didn't think it was incongruous with the character. When we think about her restraint in season 7 of the Clone Wars that you mentioned, it's this, clone battalion that she has a long-term relationship with, and she's fought side by side with for a long time.
Yep.
And she's having trouble coming to terms with the 180-degree turn they make with Order 66, which is totally different, I think, than this situation where we learn that there are these people being subjugated, tortured, treated very badly in this village at the hands of these people. And so I think, she feels righteous in trying to liberate them through her actions. So I don't think those are sort of at odds with each other. I think there was tremendous restraint shown with the character. We had talked in the prior weeks about like, oh my God, what is Ahsoka's reaction to Baby Yoda going to be? We were like spinning and freaking out. And I love how the moment where she said, "Oh, I hope you're here to talk to me about him."
Yeah.
And it's very like coolly played. And the whole time she doesn't say much, and she just takes her time to converse with him like through the Force for a while.
Yeah.
And then you finally hear some of her thoughts and her relay things to Din. I thought it was surprising because I was expecting her like this reaction of her freaking out, but she's seen so much at this point and done so much, and she's calm and cool. So that I really enjoyed that way she reacted.
Yeah, well, at least I wanted kind of a wizened Ahsoka, I think, and I think we got that. I think we saw that she's been doing some training of her own, and that internal struggle she had with we saw in the Clone Wars, like, am I a Jedi again? Like, is that something I'm going back to? It seems like she's fully embraced that at this point, that if Grogu, we'll get to that here in a bit, were able to be trained, it seems like she would have done it. Like, if she wouldn't have sensed that attachment and what was going on there, she could have easily done it and saw an ally in this creature. And yeah, hey, haven't seen one of these guys since Yoda or Yaddle. Holly brought up a great point about that. Like, where the hell is Yaddle? I don't know Yaddle's story throughout the prequel era, but maybe Ahsoka was never introduced to her.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we got exactly kind of what we expected. I think I was just shocked because, and I think most of the shock is for me that we had talked about this scene so much of Ahsoka's reveal. I myself were going in with expectations of, oh, it's going to be a slight reveal. We're not even going to get a whole lot of interaction with her. And it's like from the get-go, we're introduced to her within the first 30 seconds of the show, and she's just like cutting people in half. So I think that was kind of jarring for me. Oh my God, this is not what I expected. And I think Dave Filoni knew it, whether he was listening to the episodes of the past or not.
I think he was.
But I think everyone had this expectation of it's going to be some epic Luke Skywalker there on Ahch 2 moment where he turns and it's like pause and end scene. I think we all were kind of expecting something like that, but no. Ahsoka's on the ground taking names and cutting people in half. And I was down for it. So let's talk about the story itself. We're on this planet Corvus. It's a forest planet. That's what we're told, at least by Bo-Katan or Katan. If you're a jerk. But looks like it's been stripped of everything, or Mount St. Helen or something erupted everywhere, and it's just. Phrasing. Yeah, wow, yeah, seriously. I've been called a lot of things, but not Mount St. Helen. Phrasing. But so it looked like something was going down there, right? And we're introduced to these troopers. I mean, Luke, I'm getting the impression that they're old Imperials in different garb now. Is that something you were seeing, or am I looking into it too much?
Well, I don't know about the history of the individual soldiers necessarily. They did mention that the one sort of military leader seemed to be ex-Imperial military, but they kind of hinted that the woman, the magistrate, was really just a private, business, in the way that a lot of the novels have shown, like these private businesses taking advantage of conditions and being in many ways as ruthless or cunning as Imperials themselves. When she's a shipbuilding corporation, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's like personal for her because her people were murdered during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, we didn't really get into that much, did we? Yeah, she lost everyone. Who was it? We're assuming the Republic. I mean. Yeah,
and so I guess she feels like it's like a revenge thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm going to try to take you down or help take you down because to me, you're the enemy. You stripped me of everybody I've ever known.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish.
Come on.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier. I kind of wish that we had more of a backstory about some of the people in the village.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's just one episode and there's only so much that they could put, but I feel like there have been other episodes where we felt like a lot was at stake when we met other villages.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that Bryce Dallas Howard directed last season, I felt there was more at stake for those people than there was this season, and we saw these people being tortured in this episode. And I just didn't really feel that, like, sense of urgency to, like, that makes me sound terrible. I'm not like, oh, just leave them alone and let them be tortured. But I didn't really feel like, why are they important? Like, why should I care so much about this that I see, like, what Ahsoka's after?
I totally agree. And
I mean, ultimately, we do find out why it's important to her. But still, at the same time, it feels like it's not so much the people. It's just she needs information.
Yeah. I don't know. The stakes just didn't feel like they were there. I totally agree with you. And you actually said something really interesting, not that Holly, just wishes for death and destruction in every episode, but like when they're up on the wall and she's, the mayor or the magistrate there is talking to Ahsoka. She says, what's it gonna take for you to get this information? Like one person dying? Is it 10 or is it 100? And you're right. I'm like, oh, they're going to execute this guy here. And Ahsoka's going to be like, oh, I'm coming for you. And it like never happened. Yeah, put him back in his. It's like, okay, let's make it gruesome. Let's up the stakes. I wanted to feel a little more invested in what was going on there. For me, it just wasn't happening.
I think that it could have been a little bit more dramatic to really show like, maybe that's what people mean when they felt like Ahsoka was out of character. I just feel like they could have, like, upped the ante in this one a little bit.
For me, we were at a point where I was like, I don't even, I wasn't concerned about Ahsoka or the Mando and the fight sequences. I was like, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But for a second there, when Ahsoka lost her lightsaber or laser sword, I corrected myself. I turned to Holly and said, oh my God, how intense would it be if this was Ahsoka's end? This is the last time we're ever going to see Ahsoka again.
They didn't know what to do with her. So it's okay, well, if you want to talk about that, they're talking about that in the chat right now.
Let's go.
So Jory said, was the magistrate force sensitive? Were we getting that vibe, or was it said because she gave Ahsoka a run for her money and even disarmed her? And I think when that happened, I think I said out loud, like, oh, come on.
You did. You did. Because you think, Ahsoka, just slam her into the building. Like, just get it over with. And I have those moments sometimes myself, but it was nice to see because when we get into bigger battles and stuff, and even in the animated series, we tend to forget that, like, these Jedi are actually up against something. And yeah, when you see them, force push 1,000 people or bring down a Star Destroyer or something, yeah, you're like, why don't you just use those powers? But having that fight there, seeing her get disarmed and saying, you know what, there are people out there that contend with even folks with these powers. It took me to cheer it. That his kind of style of fighting and, maybe not tapping into the Force, but
believing in it enough to, like...
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
And so then Wade said, Mandalorians have disarmed Jedi without being force sensitive. It's a testament to her level of combat training, which I love that because that makes me think of the moment where Kanan was training Sabine, and she got really frustrated. I don't have the force. Like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, I can't do this. I quit. I give up. And he was like, you just have to see, you have to feel it. You have to believe in your abilities as a Mandalorian to do this.
And he's got, and the Mando's got some tools up their sleeves, as we saw. It was 3 seconds of a fight, but that was epic to see her strike. We're all kind of all over the place with this, but to see her strike the Mando on the Beskar, that was so well done. And to see him kind of pulling out the flamethrower and his little fish, line or whatever.
You're talking about Ahsoka now.
Ahsoka and Mando when they were fighting each other. Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But it's nice to see because we know that the Mandalorian and the Jedi, 1,000 years ago or more, were at ends with each other, and the whole reason the Mando became these powerful people with this this weaponry was to defeat the Jedi. So it's nice that you're kind of seeing how that would work out in a live action show. If maybe there were more Mandos and more Jedis, and we may get that. We Jedis. Throw an S on there.
Why not?
But so we are kind of everywhere. So, I'll be honest. This wasn't my favorite episode of The Mandalorian. It just wasn't. It was awesome seeing Ahsoka there. I think Dave Filoni, for what he's doing, is great, but you can definitely tell that there's other directors in this show that are doing a better job, in my opinion. Prior episode, with that Bryce Dallas Howard did, I mean, was, way better than this to me. It was cool seeing Ahsoka, but I just wasn't really invested in the story. And that's unfortunate. Maybe it's just because we weren't, looking at cable knits and Moncows. Maybe that was what did it for me. I don't know. But
Michael wanted Ahsoka in a cable knit sweater.
I did. I absolutely. Now that would have been cool. That would have been something different. She's like, I gave up on that Jedi thing a long time ago, and now I'm just a fisherman.
Yeah, she's turned into a fisherman. She could
down.
do it.
I'm down.
Why not?
So we know that the Ahsoka, says, hey, you got a day. Give me information. You know what I want. I'm like, what is it she's seeking?
Well, she said, where's your master?
Where's your master? And immediately my mind went to Moff Gideon. Luke, were you thinking something similar? That, he's the big baddie here and she answers to him, and maybe Ahsoka's looking for him as well?
Definitely, yeah. The list of names you're trying to run through when you first hear that line from the magistrate. I think it's Gideon, the Emperor, even in the Sentinel sort of mode, or Thrawn. Thrawn came to mind for me. Maybe not at that exact moment, but there was like a little Easter egg. It wasn't the first time that this creature appeared in the series, but there was that Lothcat sighting in the village later on. And to me, that was like a blaring red light saying, there's a Rebels connection coming. I think in season 1, it was in episode 4, just for fun. There was a Loth cat, just like, hey, that'd be cool. But this one was like, to me, more significant. It was like, hey, there's a Rebels connection coming. So at that point, I was like, oh, it's Thrawn. Whereas earlier, without that, it could have meant me Gideon, Thrawn, like I said, the ghost of the Emperor, or something.
For the record, we all did say, albeit jokingly, that we will see Thrawn in The Mandalorian. Jory, back me up on this.
Well, Jory probably did. I think I said no, which might be right, but he was at least, I don't think we're going to see him visually in this season, but he was at least referenced. Now, to me, this episode, and I will hard disagree with you, Michael, this might go down as my favorite episode. The last episode that Carl Weathers directed was great, and it had the great revelations of what they were trying to do with Baby Yoda, with the cloning facility and everything. But it had some eye roll moments for me with some of the action scenes and the dialogue. I had no eye rolls whatsoever throughout this whole episode. It was beautiful. Nothing to me was over the top or corny. So this might very well be my favorite episode. But I want to touch on this. To me seems like the executives told Favreau after season 1, like, you've got really great stuff here.
Yeah,
we need to MCU spin-off potential this thing in season 2, and that could have gone really bad. It could have jumped the shark. It could have been disjointed, weird, but I think they've pulled it off, and this, to me, leaves little doubt that there's going to be an Ahsoka finding Ezra show.
Yes.
I thought Rosario Dawson's done a good job with the character. It worked live action. So I mean, I think it's greenlit. I think they're going to be off and running with that.
Yeah. I think that we kind of talked about that too, because it's kind of like this show is about the Mandalorian, and I was kind of thinking this at the end after we watched the episode, and I was like, well, if we keep bringing in like Ahsoka, and then she's trying to find Thrawn, and I'm just assuming that Ezra is still with Thrawn. I don't know. We'll get to my question about the timeline. I just feel like it is going to completely take away from the Mandalorian story. So I agree with Luke that this seemed more of like a setup for something later down the road. But I this is just me personally. Like, I hope that storyline, we don't really get more of that storyline in this series, because I want us to focus on the Mandalorian and his quest and taking care of the child, and not so much on where's Ezra.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll come back up in this series or not.
I'm a little worried. I more than anyone love the connections. When she mentioned, tell me where Grand Admiral Thrawn is, Holly can attest to it. I jumped out of the couch, ran around the couch,
like a crazy
and I was just
person.
like, what? Because I didn't even hear them mention, I knew she was stripping the planet of resources, but when the trigger should have been when she talked about the Imperial fleet. And I don't know why I didn't make that connection. I didn't even hear it, I guess. But I was pumped. But the more I'm thinking about it, like, we got Boba Fett. And this is a span of 5 episodes, mind you. Boba Fett was reintroduced. Cobb Vanth, probably never going to make an appearance, was pulled from another Star Wars material. Ahsoka, Thrawn. Who else? What else am I missing? Bo-Katan. There's 6 people. Big people. Maybe not Cobb Vanth. Okay, 5 big people in Star Wars in 5 episodes that had very serious roles in the episode, but we're never going to see him again. I don't think we're going to see Ahsoka again the rest of the season. We're not going to see Boba Fett again the rest of the season. We're not going to see Bo-Katan the rest of the season.
We might see Boba Fett.
I think we'll see Bo-Katan.
Guys.
I think Bo-Katan's the likeliest to come back before the end of the season.
It is possible, but I think you're right in that the show, it's unfortunate to me that the show is feeling like it's a, hey guys, I know you really didn't enjoy, well, a lot of us enjoyed the sequel era and post-episode 6. We know some of you didn't get that, so we're going to use this new show of ours to pump you up for all these spinoffs that we're going to do, and they're just going to be jumping points, so you know where these people are in this time, and we can do other shows about them, and that's fine. But I really, like Holly's concerned, I'm a little worried that we're kind of losing sight of the Mandalorian and his development. And we're once again, now we're just going to another planet, seeking another Jedi. And it's like, now it seems like Luke saying Luke Skywalker is it's a 50-50 at this point.
That theory is alive and well.
Wait, Jory said,
yeah.
Okay, in a casual council episode, we can link it to this video, I'm sure.
It's recorded.
Yes. It is on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Jory asked, do you think we will see Thrawn or will we see Luke Skywalker?
Either who's more likely?
Yeah. Brent, Jory, and myself said Thrawn. I think you guys said Luke.
What the hell is Thrawn going to be doing in this show?
I don't know.
It's amazing, and my mind goes to, well, who's going to play Thrawn really well? And I'm going to go through a list of actors, but what the hell is going to be his purpose in this show? But then again, I don't know. But
that's why it's what Luke said. It's just setting you up to get pumped for this Ahsoka live action show. And but that's the thing. This is more than just you recognize these people. It's how are we going to win back people that we lost when we made 3 movies that not everyone enjoyed? That's what this show is. Yeah. But I love it. I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. But who's it going to be next week? Luke Skywalker? Are we going to get a de-aged Mark Hamill?
Episode 8. Episode 8 of the season. Skywalker.
They say everyone's like, oh my God, it better be Sebastian Stan. What? I'm
standing Sebastian Stan, and I don't even know what the hell Stan means. But I'm standing him because I heard that's cool. I couldn't. Holly and I had a big, I wouldn't say it's a big thing. I was just like, Holly, this Stan thing, I don't know what the hell it means, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And Holly said, it's not, Michael. That's how just new words are created. People just, I'm like, I don't care.
Michael doesn't understand the evolution of language.
No. He's like, I speak American, okay? And I don't think I'm going to ever stop.
They added a new word to the dictionary.
It just doesn't make any sense. When people say, I stan this, it's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You literally walked by me in the kitchen earlier and you were like, I stan you. What?
That's beautiful, Michael.
I don't even know what it means. I think it's a positive thing because people have been, using it positively about things they enjoy. So yeah, I'll throw it out there.
We could use some more positivity.
I can't.
Negative Nancy.
I'm not negative, but I get it. And we need more positive environments. But it's just man, people are out there just branding themselves we are the positive Star Wars. It's if you just aren't a dick to people, you don't have to brand yourself as a positive show. You don't have to.
Can we?
Yeah, Luke. Am I wrong? Am I standing the wrong thing?
No, this hints at Grogu, which we haven't talked enough about. I think. Quickly on the Mark Hamill Skywalker thing, I think it can work. She said, "Take him to this mountaintop temple, Tython." Yeah. And commune with the Force and see what happens, see who reaches out. And to me, it can easily work because think of Kenobi on Hoth when he appears to Luke and he's the fuzzy vision. So I think that eases the de-aging process if you're going to have this sort of fuzzy apparition of Luke kind of appear to Grogu. So I think it can totally... That's my still theory that I've been running with for a while now, and we've talked on several episodes of this, and I think it's working so far. There's been nothing to dissuade me from it yet, but I do want to talk a little bit about the Grogu backstory we got. I thought that was huge just to see. I didn't get the impression Ahsoka ever ran into him at the temple, but through her forced conversation with him, she learned that he was at the temple and being reared and trained, and then Order 66, somebody whisked him away to safety, and then some trauma happened and things kind of go dark for him, and now his abilities with the Force are much less than they would be otherwise. I thought Yeah, we knew when Ahsoka comes face to face with this character that she's going to know something or going to learn more. And I thought um, it was well done. Like just sitting down on logs and going through exposition in a show can be tough, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And there was a moment where she mentioned the only other creature I've seen like this was Wise Jedi Master Yoda, and very subtly, it was only like maybe 2, 3, 4 notes, like a measure of the soundtrack. Yoda's theme kind of bubbled in there very quickly, and that was beautiful from Ludwig Göransson on the soundtrack. I mean, I could go on and on. I loved how she didn't want to train him because of the attachment he showed and her history with Anakin, and knowing what that did to Anakin. And lastly, Holly, was it you who came up with the green bean nickname? Because it's very close, 2 syllables starting with gra.
Yeah.
Grogu.
That's true.
Grogu green bean.
I don't know how we got that, but you're absolutely right. It's like we knew.
It was our haricot vert.
Yeah. That was one of our French listeners.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Or Canadian. I'm not sure.
No.
That was a huge thing. Yeah, we're not sure.
He was French.
Yeah.
Shout out to France.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you for that. Thank you. Shout out to France. Vive la France.
Okay, see?
There you go.
All right. I think that there's a lot to unpack there. First of all...
Yeah, I threw a lot at you. I'm sorry. That was just... I couldn't hold it in me anymore.
Crazy.
No, I think this is all great because I've been waiting to talk about this because this is actually one of the things I liked the most about this episode.
Because when Holly tries to talk about this with me in the house, I shut it down. And I say, save it for the podcast.
No, he literally is like...
Shut it down.
Exactly like that.
I stand you, but
I stand you, but stop
Seriously,
talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Wade with the escargot. I was trying to like...
You'd hope people forgot.
I was trying to like whiz through that and mention
right
to France.
Can't find it in the stores. Can't find it.
Can't find it, both of you guys. Okay, anyway. First of all, I thought that was very Ahsoka for her to just sit down and kind of have that conversation with Green Bean, or that's what I am going to continue to call him.
Absolutely.
Kid. But I just feel like that was really true to Ahsoka's character. At least that's how I feel like Ahsoka is, because she treated him as more than a child. She knew that he had a story to tell. She wanted to listen to it, and she gave him the chance to open up to her so that she could understand more about him.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's kind of, even as a child, that's kind of how she was in the Clone Wars. And I've always really appreciated that about how Ahsoka's character is written. I think she always takes the time to kind of listen to people and try to understand where they're coming from. That's why she has such a great relationship with a lot of the clones, right? But the name, his name, I just like, the second I heard that, I was like, isn't that a character in Mortal Kombat? Like, and I don't think I can get past that.
Probably.
I don't think that I can get past that.
It was an awesome scene, and I think even when she mentions Master Yoda, I think Grogu even kind of turns and almost acknowledges it. Like,
is it Grogu or Grogu?
Oh, did I say Grogu? Grogu. Yeah, it's a G.
It's kind of like Dooku.
Yeah, you're right. It's Grogu. It kind of even acknowledges it.
Yeah.
I think it seems, but
which makes you wonder, like, how much he remembers.
What did he see?
So here's the thing. I think that we gave him a pass in the one episode where he was eating the eggs, and everyone was like, he's just a baby. He doesn't understand what he's doing. He doesn't know right from wrong. False.
He does know.
This little dude was trained for 20 years.
True.
With the Jedi.
Yeah.
He knows right from wrong.
Probably in the arms of Master Yoda on Coruscant.
He knows right from wrong. That is not an excuse for his bad behavior. Yeah. But also, I don't think that this was ever mentioned in the episode, but I'm like, I want to know who took him from the temple, and then I want to know when they lost him and he got into the hands of the Empire.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it wasn't Cal Kestis.
I see a lot.
Eliminate that name. It wasn't him who got him out of there.
It wasn't. No, we
know that.
We saw that.
Unless there's something that
Fallen
we need to
Order
unlock
spoiler.
in Fallen Order. I don't know. But yeah, big Fallen Order spoiler. Grogu not rescued by Cal Kestis. But it was a big moment. And here's why I loved that Ahsoka is still in this place of just like, can't really trust people. Lost her master. Doesn't want to train this kid. Doesn't want anything to do with it. Because that tells me there is still a possibility in an Ahsoka show of some sort that we can have a moment with her and Hayden Christensen just talking.
Okay, concept.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's write it up right now so someone can steal it.
I know. I already rewrote the first scene where the magistrate says, "Show yourself, Jedi," and that brings a prisoner up, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, my second rewrite for this episode would have been, she says to the Mandalorian, "No, I can't train you," or "No, I can't train him." And then the Mandalorian is like, "Okay, well, we have to win her over." So he goes and makes his little camp with Green Bean. And then she goes off and away from him and does her own camp.
Yeah.
And then while she's sitting by herself in the woods after saying that she wasn't going to train Green Bean, we get an Anakin Force ghost coming to her and saying, "You have to train the child."
That would have, and that's what I was wanting. That would have been way too epic for what happened here, though. Because that's going to be a huge moment that's going to dominate a lot of time and something. A huge moment.
We're talking about Luke Skywalker.
But not to we're talking about Anakin Skywalker.
Well, we were talking about Luke Skywalker coming in to this.
No, get that out of here. Luke said that as a joke a couple episodes ago. Now it's really plausible.
But now
Luke
suddenly
Skywalker.
I was never joking.
He wasn't joking.
No, he was.
I thought he was joking
serious.
at first. But no, and so that's going to have to be something else. But you're right. It made me think, could it happen? I was like, no, like this is way too brief of an interaction for this to be a moment that Ahsoka needs to have. But it gives me hope that it is going to happen. But you're right. It could have been a Luke Skywalker on Ahch-To with Yoda moment where it kind of pans and you go past Yoda's back and then you're like, oh my God.
But then it's like,
yeah,
if we are ever to see an Anakin Force ghost,
yeah,
you can't explain why he was not at the end of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, you can. No, I mean, no
I'm
one
just
appeared
saying,
there. Like even
Luke
Jedi.
and Leia.
I think, yeah, she doesn't mean the scene at Exegol. You mean the scene on Tatooine, Holly, right?
Oh, I mean, she would have had no.
Because I mean, his voice is there on Exegol.
Yeah. She would have had no idea who he was, though. That wouldn't have made any sense to me.
Yeah, I think that moment was about people that Rey connected to, and like, yeah, you're right, Michael. That an appearance of Anakin wouldn't have meant as much to Rey as Leia and Luke, because she both actually knew.
That's true.
It would have been like the revised ending of Episode 6. Luke would be like, "Who's this young guy? I have no idea who this person is."
Look,
but
they're digitally editing things left and right.
Yeah,
they edited out the Jeans guy. R.I.P.
I know. Kind of sad. I think they should keep that in there.
I know.
Anyway.
It's like representative of 2020.
Yeah, you guys really botched that one. Who missed that? I guess they don't go frame by frame like Star Wars fans do. I never in a million years would have found that.
Can't we just
You have
let
to
it
go
be?
frame by frame to see that crap. I don't know how people pick this stuff up.
Well, we might have gone frame by frame in a couple scenes in this episode.
Well, that was me stopping and putting on the subtitles so I know what the hell Ahsoka said in a moment.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You know, people did go frame by frame because there was this huge debate about the freaking owl. Let's talk about the owl for a second. As soon as that little owl was on the screen when he's walking into the woods and he thinks that he hears something, I literally looked at Michael and I was like, "That's Morai."
Gosh.
Yeah.
I missed it. I've watched this episode twice and I missed it.
Luke probably went to the
Dang
bathroom
it.
and didn't pause it.
But listen, some dude took a screenshot of it and was like, "This is Morai." And I 100% agree with that. And somebody else was like, "That's literally just a barn owl." Excuse
oh my God. The
me.
thing was in a shadow from a distance. You can't see what
But
the hell. You just know it's an owl. They don't know if it is or it isn't, but like, why?
No, we know that it is. It had to have been Morai
Well, we
because
don't
why the hell? Why would have Dave Filoni been like, you know what animal follows Ahsoka around? An owl. There are no other animals except for those weirdo cow things.
Those big giant cows. Yeah.
But then, like, let's just put an owl in for fun in this forest and not have it be Ahsoka's owl and then have Ahsoka show
No,
up.
I agree with you. I think it's.
But
it's
people
silly.
were like, frame by frame, like, zooming in on the owl, lightening it up, and they're like, "Oh, the markings aren't right. It can't be Morai. The color
no
on
markings on it. The thing was in a shadow.
the color on the
can't see
face
it.
isn't right." I was like,
I can't. There was no face to it. It was on the back of it. people need to just have a sense of humor and just, hey, there's an owl here. That must mean Ahsoka's coming. And then we move on with our lives. The owl does nothing with Ahsoka. It really doesn't do anything in Star Wars. So I don't know why.
But it's indicative. It's showing
of her
presence.
I understand that.
I'm like, why the hell would have Dave Filoni just put in a random owl and been like,
maybe an owl got loose on set or something. I don't know. They didn't catch that one like they didn't catch the T-shirt and jeans guy.
Paige got close up and she screenshotted that owl. But she agreed it was Ahsoka's owl.
Moving on.
Okay, guys. I will say I was proud of that one because as soon as that came on screen, I was like, oh my God, there it is. First time I watched it.
I couldn't have missed it because you pointed it out.
Yeah.
So it was an epic moment, and it was, but it just shows you that, like, I mean, Ahsoka was raised in the temple too. Like, you know, like she doesn't probably know who her family is. She's
really
just
deep.
Yeah. I had to bring it back down to a serious level again so people just don't think we're a bunch of hooligans that freeze frame owls in dead trees. But maybe we are.
I'd say we didn't freeze frame it because we knew right away that Ahsoka was about to come on.
Exactly. Yeah. You just say, oh, Ahsoka's probably coming. So I mean, yeah, it's as simple as that. But the moment was great, you know, and you can definitely tell that Ahsoka is hesitant, you know, maybe not even because she, you know, senses something in him, some fear, but like, you're telling me I'm going to have to like raise this thing? Like I could barely like, you know, get by myself. And like, I you know, didn't have the greatest teacher, even though she says he was the best of us. Was he? Was Anakin Skywalker the best of us? I don't know. To her, because she
thought that he was up until that moment in Rebels where she realized that it was Anakin. She defended him like left and right.
Yeah, she's gonna have to have an Obi-Wan moment here in the future to deal with all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna have to see some of that with her too. So, is it gonna be live action? Is it gonna be animated? I don't know. Have you set this precedent now? It's like we're going to carry this thing through into another show.
Will we ever get another animated Star Wars show again?
Oh, absolutely. It's gold. It's all been gold. Resistance, you know, aside. I didn't even finish Resistance, Luke. We talked about it at work every so often, and I couldn't even finish it, man. It was too bad. Well, we can go on without it. But it's interesting, though. We were talking about, you know, all these big characters happening. It's just... It's such a ripe time period to deal with a bunch of different issues that the sequel trilogy did not deal with. And so I think it's prime real estate. You know, we've gone back in time, but you have to go forward in Star Wars at some point. I know everyone wants to go back in time. And what about the old Republic? And yeah, that's cool. But like, let's do something different. Let's see what the future holds. And let's finish out the stories of these characters we like. So then maybe one day we can move on and actually create some new characters. And I'm not talking about the Bad Batch. Yeah, I'm excited for it, but we'll see what holds.
Nettie just said that one's supposed to be animated, right? Right. Yes.
Now, a live action Bad Batch, I mean, that would be pretty intense.
I mean, that would be really intense.
It would turn into the Turtles live action, and I'm out. I'm out on... No, I'm not talking about the 1989, I think that was when it was originally released, motion picture, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, yeah. That was a damn masterpiece. Gold. I'm talking about the garbage that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the, 2010s, 20-teens. Garbage. Absolute garbage. But what are you going to do?
I don't know. Not watching.
Not my Turtles. Not my Luke Skywalker. Not my Ahsoka.
I think you mean, not my Michelangelo.
Well, Raph was my favorite.
Whatever.
I could really care less about Michelangelo. But anyway. So
you're so edgy, Michael. Raph's my favorite.
I was pretty much a hard ass.
What color
as a
was
kid.
his headband?
He was red.
Red. And he was the bad boy.
The big meathead, yeah. Which was the opposite of me, so it was maybe a hope and a dream.
I think true to form was a Donatello guy.
Let's go. Donatello does machines, if you didn't know. Phrasing.
Wow.
Phrasing. So, Luke, I thought it was interesting that... I'm not saying I didn't like it. I thought it was interesting that Grogu's backstory is tied to the Jedi. Like, yes, he's wielding the Force, he's doing cool things with it, but like we just kind of chalk that up to, well, that's his species, their power. He's got a high M count. Maybe that's just it. But the dude was raised for how many years by many masters, she said. So that caught me. I thought that was one of the biggest developments in the show, aside from Thrawn. Like, I mean, who could have taken him from there? Is it going to be someone that we know? Not Cal Kestis. We came to that conclusion, not him. But could it be who else could it be? I don't know. Just some unknown guy. I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know, somebody.
Paige texted me earlier and said it was Jocasta.
That's an interesting one. When you think about, like, try to rattle off the names of the people we know who made it out, Jocasta Nu is one. I think it's fascinating and fun to think about, and let's have those conversations for the next however long.
Yeah.
But the fact that it took us 13 episodes of this series to even find this out about him,
it's crazy.
I don't expect that answer to come soon.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, the pace of things are speeding up. The leaps that this season makes forward in the story of the grand series and the grand canon connections, so much faster and so much more than season one. But even so, it's still stringing these things out pretty long and letting you sit with new revelations for a minute. So I don't expect to get that answer. I think it's going to be a great and fun, theory that everyone throws around for a little while for sure. So I'm all for it, but I don't think we'll get the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because I know that there are a lot of people who like the mystery of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was me when I said that there were certain things I didn't need. I said I didn't need the Solo movie, but we got it and I like it. It's fine.
Speak for yourself.
But, like, there's some of those things that, like, it's more fun in your mind to kind of, like, make it up.
I think that's just because you had a crush on a young Harrison Ford. I don't think it has anything to do with wanting. I think you're just like, I really could have used a young Harrison there, and I don't think Alden's doing it for me.
I think Alden did a really great job being the embodiment of a young Harrison Ford
There's
or
no
a young
reason
Han
to dislike
Solo.
that movie.
It's fine. Moving on.
Yeah, the mystery of it is cool, but we're going to find out at some point. There's going to be a flashback or something. I think that would be amazing. I kind of, I don't know if I can take any more Order 66. I mean, especially after Fallen Order. That was emotional.
Yeah.
I can't take seeing this child, witnessing all this. Was he there in the temple when Anakin was slaying younglings? Could he have survived in that room there with the younglings? Master Skywalker, there's too many. And then faintly in the background, we've superimposed Baby Yoda back there.
Somebody photoshopped
He's just overlooked by Anakin because he's so small.
Exactly.
He just misses him.
He just looks like a ball of cloth there, and he missed him.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be...
Well, Michael, like, you expressed kind of surprise that, he's at the temple and everything. But that lines up with the timeline. Because he probably would have spent now 2 decades or more, slightly, at the temple if he was raised there from a pretty young age. And the fact that he goes back to the pre-Clone Wars era in his birth, it would make sense that the Order, at its sort of height there, would be aware of him and be able to nurture him. So that all lined up with me. So that sort of like just fit logically as the most likely place for him to be. So that all worked really well.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess especially with such what seems to be a powerful individual creature with a high M count, because we don't utter that word anymore, Holly.
Say
on the
it.
podcast.
Say the
Forbidden
word.
words.
We call it M count now.
Say it.
For me, I just kind of expected he was just, because I kind of like when we have these, creatures or beings or whatever that have these powers that don't know what to do with them, that become something more. I kind of like that. So it wasn't really a letdown. It's just like, okay, well, that was completely off the charts for me. I'm down. But then when you say, like, yeah, he escaped, but he's been, kind of like Cal. He's had to hide himself, and he's a child. He's been suppressing these powers and these feelings for so long just to survive. And you could just see the life just falling out of this little Grogu guy. I was just like, wow, I didn't believe a little animatronic like puppet could make me feel for it, but I was just like, wow, like he's been through some stuff. Like, and that's it makes it so much more relatable now with the Mando that he's witnessed so much. Yeah.
Brent said, what if it was Palpatine that reaches out to Grogu when he's at the temple?
Come with me, my child.
That's just like, no.
That would be crazy. It's just, I don't know. It's going to be
well, that does something to you, though. You know, for Holly's attack on his character earlier with the eggs. Look at Kanan in the A New Dawn novel, who had been in the same position.
Yep.
I'm less familiar with Fallen Order because I haven't played it, but the trauma of these people who did survive Order 66 and are on the run and hidden from the Imperials and the Inquisitors, it really messes you up. Like Kanan's in a dark place in A New Dawn.
Yeah.
And there's hints of that in Rebels, but you really get the meat of it in A New Dawn. So I want to wait and see exactly what his traumas were. I think that's the backstory we'll get more so than who took him from the temple, kind of maybe what happened to him in some of that intervening period that we don't know about. So I want to like reserve my judgment on his character until I know exactly what sort of messed up stuff happened to him.
No, I think that's fair. And that's the same thing that I said to Michael earlier when we were watching this for the first time. And he was like, oh my God, Ahsoka's a killing machine. And I was like, well, think about all the emotional baggage that she has.
Yeah.
You know, that really truly does change you as a person. You know?
Absolutely.
And especially if you are truly like still in this like infancy stage, as we have been assuming that his character, the child is. I mean, I feel like that has a little bit of an extra level of.
Well, and someone has to have been taking care of him, right? Like we see his interactions now at 50, and we're presuming he was like 20 or something at this point. Like someone has to have been taking care of him. So is it just someone left him off on a desert planet like Jakku?
Like Jakku. We just don't know when he got picked up.
Yeah, was it literally Order 66 is happening and Anakin is slaying children and they're like, oh my God, we got to go? Or, was it prior to that?
We don't know what happened between, like we were talking about, we don't know who took him from the temple. You don't know what happened in between then. So you don't know how long he was with presumably a Jedi who took him from the temple.
Yeah.
And then when things went wrong for him after that.
Did some Jedi there in the temple foresee everything? Did someone else sense something coming and they bailed? They got out. And they said, this little guy, he's my little buddy. He's my defenseless. Like, he can't do anything.
My good luck charm.
Yeah. I think that'd be awesome. There's someone there in the temple, and even the masters couldn't even sense what was coming. And they were like, we got to get out of here. There's something bad's going to happen. I think that'd be cool. So, yeah, I thought the little conversation that they had was awesome.
Let's talk about his connection with Din, because I feel like that was incredibly special. I feel like that was a really special moment that we get to see. We have Ahsoka, who Din thought, I'll just bring the child to Ahsoka and all these problems will be solved. But then it actually got more complicated because she was like, I can't train him. He has this connection to you. And then said, try to get him to use the Force. Encourage him to do that and see how he responds. I feel like at some point it's like, when do you cross the line between being a parent or a father figure and, kind of not like a master, because obviously he's not, but kind of being that mentor and encouraging him to use the Force when you yourself are not a Force user.
I don't even think he's crossed into this, because to me, when she was like, when she couldn't, get little Grogu to do it, she's like, come over here, and Mando's like, yeah, get over here. Like he didn't even look at himself as the one who is going to try to work with him. So I don't even think he's crossed that threshold of like father figure. Yeah, he's watching after him, but he's got this mission. it hasn't seemed to really set into him. Well, yeah, I'm stepping up and yeah, I'm taking care of him, because he was like, no, like this is what I'm here to do, and you have to take him. He was emphatic about that. So I don't even think he's crossed that really yet, and that bond is still just kind of forming. But they have so much more in common, I guess, than we even realized. Yeah, we knew Baby Yoda had gone through some stuff. He's being tested. Could have killed him doing it. Yeah, that's crazy, but like he's seen a lot more.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the secret Padawan of someone else. Who knows? But it was a cool moment there. I like Luke said, I liked that it was, there wasn't a lot being said, but we need more Ahsoka now at this point. This wasn't the end of her story. There's got to be more. There's got to be another show. I personally would love to hear in the chat who thinks these people are coming back this season. I personally think none of them are.
Oh, I asked that question a long time ago. I gotta scroll for it.
Oh, scroll away.
I'll say real quick while you're looking for it, Holly, just the moment that made me love this episode in the way that it was shot, the way it was put together. The moment with the final battles, the final duel between Ahsoka and the Magistrate, which I thought was some good action. But what I loved most about it is how it kept being cut with just the standoff that the Mandalorian was having with the military leader, and how there's a frenetic saber versus Beskar spear battle going on the one hand, and it's furious and it's fast, and then it would just cut to these two men just standing off and having this tense, quiet conversation, and both trying to subtly get the upper hand in this duel. That to me was like, I just really enjoyed that to have those intercut, because like George Lucas used to love to intercut, especially in the prequels, like different action scenes going on at the same time towards the end of like Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace in particular. But they were all kind of the same pace.
Yep.
It was cutting between multiple things that were all kind of really high pace, but this was such a contrast. So I like, again, I'm saying this is probably my favorite episode.
Well, it was so refined too.
And cinematically, that really builds the suspense, right? Like you're going back and forth so quickly, and there's so many things going on at the same time. It I don't know. It made me like kind of anxious when all that was happening, because you're like we talked about earlier. That like Din and Ahsoka are gonna be fine, but there's still something about, like Nettie mentioned, the Magistrate takes the Beskar steel and knocks one of Ahsoka's lightsabers out, and you're kind of like, ooh.
There was a moment I thought she was gonna bite it. There was a brief moment I was like, wait a second, no. That was the only time I ever thought anyone was threatened. But Holly also mentioned something when we were watching it. She's got this, the Magistrate has this elaborate, fancy, like pond action with some cool trees. She's got a nice garden set up, and there's this very refined battle going on. Just a sense of respect between the two. Derobing, bowing, like, she thought she was a monster in what she was doing, but there's enough respect there that it was just, I don't know, a very civilized moment sans blasters. I thought that was pretty cool.
I also, and I think what I said in that moment was it was very jarring to have that kind of, hand-to-hand, almost hand-to-hand combat. I guess it's more like a melee thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, that kind of combat in that setting, because typically those gardens are meant to be like spaces for you to meditate and be tranquil. And then you see Ahsoka just like show up, and the Magistrate turns around, and then there she is. And it's just like pretty much also another scene where you don't really need any words to say, like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I also, I really enjoyed the Magistrate's character. Morgan Elsbeth was that character's name.
The name was not great. I mean, it's cool, but it's just like, it didn't feel Star Wars. But
I didn't know who that actress was. I don't think that I had ever seen her before. But in every scene, I was like, she has to be trained in this, because she just, she just looked like she knew it. It just felt very natural to me to see her in, kind of the stances and holding the spear and stuff. So I looked her up, It is Bruce Lee's goddaughter. Her parents like are martial artists, and so I'm assuming she's been doing this her entire life.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I thought she was really fantastic in that role.
Yeah, it was nice to see some different type of action. We've seen some punching and stuff every once in a while. Like Gina Carano did a cool like WWE slam on someone, but like it was nice. It was cool.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know me. I'm like, I
love the laser swords.
I like the Tudor era and all the medieval stuff.
Yeah.
So anything that's like reminiscent of like jousting or like
we could go
fights.
for some jousting.
I mean, do we just have like a Mandalorian run fair or like what?
I'd be down.
I mean, sure.
Be down.
Din's trying to eat a chicken leg underneath his
turkey leg.
But
I appreciate that you know that.
Whatever. I'm a vegetarian, guys.
Yeah, she doesn't eat meat. Phrasing. What else? So we haven't really we talked about Thrawn. We talked about how it was kind of a bombshell. Luke, do you feel like he's gonna make an appearance in this show, or is this just? Maybe you mentioned this. I can't remember. Do you think this is just a mention, just a name drop? This isn't like Ahsoka, where prior episode she's mentioned, then we see her. Like, do you think we're actually gonna get a Thrawn?
No, I think this is to set the trajectory of the Ahsoka live action series towards the Rebel sequel, essentially, of what we see in that epilogue to Rebels of Sabine and her leaving to find Ezra, and where there is Ezra, there's presumably Thrawn, because they purgled out together. So that's where I see it going. I don't think there's room to follow that thread in 3 more episodes remaining. I think these last 3 episodes are going to be much more obviously Grogu Mando focused, and Gideon. Like last season, Gideon comes into play heavily sort of in the last couple episodes. I think we got to get back towards the Gideon part of the storyline, and I don't think there's probably room to throw Thrawn in there at that point, but
so is that,
who knows?
Is the pinnacle moment of this season the end? Is it going to be Grogu on this mountain, Holly? Is it his decision? Like, because she made it sound like if he decides to open himself up to the Force here, a Jedi could hear his call, essentially, which is pretty crazy. I guess it's just kind of like amplified by the temple or whatever.
Like,
yeah. Is that going to be the end of this season?
Is this the last episode?
No, we have a few more.
Oh, okay.
We have 3 more episodes, but are we going to get a couple episodes before we get ultimately to this place?
I kind of feel like, I don't know. I kind of feel like because that instruction came from Ahsoka, that's probably a big deal that they make it to the temple.
Yeah.
But I hope that they make it to the temple next episode, because I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like after she said that you need to go here, I got really excited for that.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Something about all the different temples, and anytime any of the characters go to a temple, I feel like there's some revelation and there's some really great experience, and I feel like they do a good job of like putting in like, even though the temples are pretty much destroyed now, I feel like they do a good job putting in like the artwork and the architecture of the temple, and I like seeing that stuff. So I'm actually kind of excited for this temple scene and whatever happens. I don't know, maybe the reveal that you wanted of Ahsoka, just like with the robe and she takes the hood down, maybe that will happen with a different Jedi, and that will be the end of this season.
You know who else is looking for temples? I'm talking about Luke Skywalker. Talk about Cal Kestis.
He is.
That sounds like a real possibility. We joked about it in past episodes, and it would be cool to see Luke Skywalker, but I just feel like if Luke Skywalker meets these folks, like, it's going to complicate the future. Then I feel like you have to explain. Does he say, no, I'm not going to train him either? It's like, well, shit. Okay, well, who is going to take care of this thing? Like, I feel like it could just make things even more complicated unless you get someone like Cal, who hasn't been really, he's been successful in finding other Force wielders, like, I forget her name, but his... Seer. Been successful in that, and he's run into some Inquisitors and Vader, spoiler. but hasn't really found any other proper Jedi. Some that have went to the dark side. Which was epic.
Yeah, we don't want to play with them.
I would be so down. I think they could learn from each other. You know, they both have temple training, and they've both been through a lot. I think that would be... Cal is someone I can see even just being someone who's joining the crew. I could see that. Like, maybe he parted ways with other people, or there's a, he lost them or whatever. I don't know. I feel like you could continue Cal's story, and he could be kind of a semi-permanent addition to it. But I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about all these new characters that are coming in. We're talking about Luke. We're talking about Cal. We're talking about Thrawn.
Yeah.
We've already had Ahsoka.
Yeah. Maybe it's Maul. Who knows? Maybe he's back.
No. What we haven't had is a lot of screen time with, Grief Karga and Cara Dune. And I feel like they were such big characters in the first season. And I understand if maybe a certain character is being written out, but I kind of feel like we just kind of like left them behind, and they were so pivotal in like the first season, and now suddenly like they just don't matter. And I know that Favreau said this season is going to be based more on Din Djarin and his relationship with the child, but I feel like we're already throwing in all these characters. What about the ones that we haven't gotten closure with?
It felt like they were going to be a crew. It really did.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can kind of think of them that way, but Star Wars always has crews. Always. They always form a crew. And these guys are just kind of doing their own thing, which that's fine. Keep a low profile, but you're a freaking Mandalorian in Beskar. Like, you stick out like a sore thumb. Not to mention you got this Green Goblin. Like, everyone's like, who the hell are these people?
I mean, they're definitely...
I think I think they'll come back into play given the ending of the episode 4 with the New Republic pilot who's there questioning them about what happened at the Imperial base. It seems like he's going to keep trailing the path of Din at the same time that Gideon is trailing him, and I think because of that, in the interaction that the Republic pilot had with Cara Dune there about, like, you used to be one of us in the rebellion. Remember that and help us out if you see stuff that we should know about. So I think they'll come back into play at some point. So I don't think we've seen the last of them, Holly. So I think you'll get more. Yeah,
I knew you were missing Gina. So
that was a joke.
Yeah, no, she's fine. It's fine. But what else? Am I missing something? I don't want to seem underwhelmed because I did enjoy it. I thought it was awesome. There was a lot of shocking moments, and I just don't think we're going to see these big characters again. I just don't. You may see. I think, like Luke said, Bo-Katan is probably the more likely character to come back with the other Mandos because Gideon's going to show up at some point. He's tracking them. I cannot imagine we're going to let that go into next season. That seems like it's going to be.
Well, everyone seemed to agree with me and say that Boba Fett was the most likely to make an appearance.
Guys,
this season.
Come on! I love you, but
Boba
except
for
Wade.
Wade has this theory that the big reveal that we were talking about with a character at the end of the season that's a cliffhanger is actually going to be Thrawn, and you're just going to see his little eyes.
I'm down, but Thrawn needs his own thing. Thrawn needs his own show. Like I said, the Ascendancy would be the most dramatic, epic Star Wars television. I said that a long time ago. Give him a 6-season television series, and it'd be amazing.
I love
Just drama. You got the Ascendancy, you got all these aristocrats. That is television. Give it to us. Don't put it in The Mandalorian. I'm down for a name drop. Don't put it in The Mandalorian. Yeah, Luke.
Well, it's amazing for Wade to bring up Boba Fett because I keep forgetting about him.
Right.
And I have my theories that I feel so good about with an Ahsoka spinoff and with Luke. But yeah, I can't make heads or tails of Boba Fett. Where, if, how he comes back into this. Like, it's just completely befuddles me, and I don't know what to say.
I thought we would have seen
him
again by
unlikely
now.
ally. He's like, just give me they're being attacked by Moff Gideon. He's got these dark troopers, and everything looks terrible. And here comes Boba Fett doing the old freaking Ben Kenobi scream. He learned it on Tatooine, just like Ben Kenobi did. And he's like, just give me the armor, and he just annihilate. I mean, he survived a Sarlacc. Like, come on. Like, he should have been digesting for 1,000 years, and he survived. So maybe there's something to him being an unlikely ally there, and he just wants his armor back. But maybe he's done some soul searching. Maybe he found from Jainism. What was the no.
Like the religion?
Yeah, they found
his inner peace.
A coach. What the coach that they would seek out?
Oh.
Holly's making me watch Jane the Virgin, and it's a fantastic show. I am obsessed with it right now. So some Jainism going on there, but maybe he found himself, some peace and understanding with his life. He's accepted his father's death, and now he needs to do good by the galaxy. I think that'd be interesting. I would never have said.
So you think that Boba Fett's had a spiritual awakening?
Could have, yeah, maybe.
And the
found a shaman and just like I don't know, like he's made right.
I mean, he's taking his journey.
Yeah, he's had to process a lot too. So I think some distance away from all the bounty hunters, maybe he did some meditation there in the Sarlacc. I don't know really what that's like.
Probably
how long he was there.
Not very easy to do. I can't imagine that's like a comfortable. I guess it's probably warm.
I would imagine if you're being digested for 1,000 years, probably pretty warm. But maybe there's something to Boba Fett coming back. But I think the Mandalorians kind of help him out to save the day. Seems like the most realistic thing. It's not like a bunch of Jedi are gonna come to save the day unless it's Cal Kestis. I just don't.
It has to be Cal.
I don't know what else would happen.
So
guys.
That's the crew that he's gonna make. It's gonna be Cal, Seer.
I would be so down if he joins that crew because who's the pilot guy? What's his name, Holly?
What his name
Oh my God, he's freaking hysterical. I would love to see him in a live action show. I think it'd be freaking fantastic. We need to put a poll up. Who's most likely to show up at the end? Who? Is it actually going to happen? Let's do an either or. What's more likely? Grogu. I got to get used to calling him that. I want to call him Baby Yoda. It's going to be a thing.
It's just like a cumbersome thing to say. Grogu.
Grogu. Well, Star Wars is a cumbersome thing. So
it's shorter than Baby Yoda.
True. That's true.
But Baby Yoda.
But I like how Din represented the broader public in that scene when he was reluctant to use the name, even once he learned it. I thought that was pretty brilliantly done, and Rosario has that, in his face moment where she just quietly, Grogu. He's not responding because you're not calling him Grogu.
And when he did respond, oh my God, I laughed hysterically when he called him Grogu. Huh? I was losing my mind. It was so good.
The noise.
It was so good.
I told Michael, I said,
yep.
I've been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild, and that's
as you have.
That's the sound that Link makes when somebody stabs him.
Yeah.
So hearing that come out of the mouth of a child was a little bit surprising.
Right to the heart. So we're have to put a poll up because I was asking you guys, what's more likely? Let's say we get to the mountain, maybe a battle's happened. I don't know, and there's this moment where Grogu reaches out. Is it more likely that someone actually shows up? Or is it more likely that Grogu's path is really to be with the Mandalorian and it's not his path to train and become a Jedi? It's just to be the sidekick of this guy, and he's gonna choose his own destiny that way. Luke, are you feeling one way or the other or neither?
I'm not feeling one or the other, but it's reminding me of it's so easy. Not easy. I shouldn't say that. It's one thing to create an intriguing mystery and a great story, but I'm getting a lot of vibes of like Game of Thrones, where everyone wanted to know. Oh, dog thundering in here, making a lot of noise. Where everyone wanted to know how is this going to turn out in terms of who's going to ultimately sit on the throne, and a lot of people got pretty pissy about how it all ended and all concluded, and like the entire final season people write off as no good. I kind of fear like there's so much love, so much wonder about Baby Yoda as a character, and he's been a cultural sensation. And I really fear that the end can't live up to that. Whatever the resolution of this character story is in this series, I'm so fearful that people will pan it, or that it's such a task for Favreau to figure out. I'm assuming he has some idea.
Yeah.
Like you can't make the entire show about this and not have had some idea from the beginning about where it's ultimately leading. So he must have an idea, and I just hope, it doesn't turn into Game of Thrones final season situation.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of thinking earlier. First, Luke, I have to say, hilarious, because when your dog came in, he was wagging his tail, and it looked like you had a tail that you were wagging, which was great.
He does have. You didn't know Luke had a tail?
No.
Well,
I
he
didn't
does.
know that.
Yep.
You haven't seen me in person in a while.
It's been like almost a year.
Uh-huh.
No, we've seen you a couple times, I guess. But
That's true.
I don't know. I get worried about that too, especially because I think that Star Wars fans can be hypercritical of some things. I know it's so bonkers to even say that.
Oh.
And I just like
Am I becoming that person?
No.
Are you sure? Because I feel like I am.
No.
Okay.
I know that sometimes I can be hypercritical of certain things, but I actually feel like there's like bigger things going on. Like they're vetting for casting and things like that. And those are things that affect different communities, actually affect them every day. That's different than just like, oh, Ahsoka's Montrails weren't long enough, and that made me really mad.
I thought we were going to talk about that, but that's okay.
I mean, we can't. Do you want to talk about it?
It just doesn't make any sense unless, but anyway.
It's objectification to talk about her Montrails.
That's right. We don't talk about those. That's right.
Off the table.
Off the table.
But I just there was a lot of talk that I saw on the Twitter today, which was really obnoxious. And different Star Wars fans were calling these people out. But there are a lot of people who are like, I thought you guys were real Star Wars fans, but you didn't like this episode. Yeah. You're not a real Star Wars fan. This has Ahsoka in it. And comments like that and saying like, oh, you didn't like it. Yeah. You're not a real fan. And it goes the other way too. Oh, you liked that. You're truly not a real fan. Then you're just a casual fan. But who cares? Stop gatekeeping. Don't you want everyone to be able to enjoy this thing that you claim to enjoy so much?
They don't. You've got a lot of people that want to be the definitive voice of Star Wars, and it's so goddamn annoying. Yeah. I hate it. I cannot stand a lot of what's going on in the conversation in Star Wars. That's why I can't stand Twitter. It's just everyone wants to have the definitive voice, and it's just just stop. It's exhausting.
It makes it hard to enjoy it.
It makes me not want to podcast, and that's unfortunate because I see so much of this crap, and I'm just like, it gets so much attention and so much, so many people listen to it, and it's just unfortunate, and I don't even like promoting our own show. I just like it, but people are sitting there claiming that they're the true Star Wars. I'm like, I don't even like posting a link saying, hey, come chat with us.
Yeah.
So and it's never, I do not see an end in sight. I do not, because if it's something that it seems like everyone can enjoy, you're still going to have this. There's still going to be some sort of dumb ass controversy as to, oh, this doesn't make any sense or what. It just doesn't matter. Like, oh, Dave Filoni never. You don't know what Dave Filoni wants. And here's the other thing, Holly. You mentioned, I'm sure in the beginning, Dave Filoni, I'm sure he knows what he's. But it's like, just because this was this individual's character doesn't mean you can't be critical of the way the character is being presented. You can't, some people are being critical about Rosario Dawson in this role and how it felt different, and I think there's some validity there. But oh no, this is just because it's his character doesn't mean that you can't critique it. So I don't know. It's a very frustrating time to be a Star Wars fan, and so I appreciate those folks that we have listening. I think everyone's pretty respectful, and I don't sit here and claim to be the most positive Star Wars podcast on, on Apple Podcasts like a lot of people do. It's just.
But also, we don't want to deter people from getting into Star Wars. And if The Mandalorian is getting you into Star Wars and this is the first time that you've met Ahsoka, it didn't feel different to you. It didn't feel off. Like, nothing felt weird to you. You either liked her as she was presented to you or you didn't. And if you liked her as she was presented to you, then you probably wanted to know more about who she was and why she was so important. So you're going to watch the Clone Wars. You're going to watch Rebels. You're going to maybe read the Ahsoka novel. You're going to, like, dig deeper into these things, and I think that that's really great. And I don't like that it feels like sometimes the Star Wars fandom is trying to kick those people out and be like, oh, you didn't come into this already knowing this, you're an idiot. And I'm like, it's not, you can't be like that.
Not my Luke Skywalker, but that's my Ahsoka.
What do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. I know nothing. I just come to enjoy it or not, and we talk about it. So it's just, I don't know. It's as fun as it is watching this stuff, man. I need to get myself away from it because it takes a lot of that fun out, and it's unfortunate. Luckily, I have Holly to ground me. Though you've been on the Twitter today, so you couldn't stop.
I couldn't stop. It was just not a good. It was not a good situation.
Well, we're gonna put some polls out because I gotta know. I gotta know. Like, is Grogu gonna make a choice here? Is this it? Could there be a Mandalorian without Grogu? Could the show go on without him? I don't know.
No.
Could it just continue on? Not as a Jedi. Are we just gonna be done with the Jedi and we got a new mission now? I don't know. Too early to tell. Well, anything else in the chat, Holly?
We're just talking about Two Puppers. This is the best podcast. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and you can see Luke's dog and Chewie, and it's a fun time.
You can watch Chewie eat his own leg right now. He's been pretty deprived this Thanksgiving. So.
Yes, he's like Ed from The Lion King, and he'll stick that whole foot in his mouth.
There was an Ed in Lion King.
Yeah, he's one of the hyenas.
I do not remember that.
One of the hyenas.
That's what my dad calls him. Chewie,
he doesn't have a name. Your dad just calls him Ed.
No, he calls him Ed because that was what the hyena, the hyena in The Lion King, he would chew up and down his foot. He'd like stick his foot in his mouth and chew up and down on it. Chewie does that sometimes, so my dad thinks he's funny. Yeah,
one day he's not gonna have a leg, and you'll probably see it here on the podcast.
Yes, our little tripod.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about the camera stand.
Whoa, phrasing,
what?
Holly.
It seems like generally Ahsoka was a hit. Good. I think that people liked her. They enjoyed her showing up. Yeah. I think just interested to see where it goes.
I'm interested to see where it goes, but I need people to stop leaking shit because I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Like, I want to be surprised by something and by someone showing up or by, someone playing somebody. It's just, this was just yet another checkbox. Yep. Rosario Dawson was Ahsoka. Okay, who's next? Who's playing Thrawn? Because I'm sure someone's freaking leaking that out right now. Seriously, who's playing Thrawn?
Hashtag who's playing Thrawn.
I'll play Thrawn.
Thrawn's playing us. He's not even going to show up.
Seriously. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. A few episodes left. Maybe the next one will be a dud. I don't know.
It's going to be one of those filler episodes where all they do is go on a side quest.
Yeah. It's all a side quest. We're going to yet another island to find another Jedi. Like, it's all side. There is no quest. It's just all side jobs here. I'm sure the ship will get destroyed, and we'll have to go fix it before we go to the next Jedi island.
Hopefully not by a Mon Cal, because now we know they stink at that.
Yeah, but I think he's just playing him. I think that guy could have fixed that ship up right. He's just playing him. But anyway, well, is that it?
I think that's all I have.
I think that's it, guys. So I'm sure there was something else to discuss, and we totally missed it. But an enjoyable episode. Let's keep the spoilers to a minimum. I'm talking to almost nearly every single Star Wars content creator on the internet. Like, let's be a little more understanding. And I love that people say, if you don't want to see it, then don't get on social media. It's like, or you could just, like, not be a dick. Like, that's, like, that should be the slogan of social media. Like, people should be able to go on there and interact with people without you being a jerk and posting literally. Like, you can't say spoilers and then post an image on it. Like, you just can't do it. It just ruins everything. So just don't be a dick and just keep the spoilers to a minimum. Give some people at least a couple days to enjoy this stuff. But I can assure you guys, we will never spoil anything on social media for you. We're barely even on there. So it ain't going to be from us. It's going to be from someone else. But I do hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'll post this as a podcast this coming Monday. We still have not talked about our comic books, which I'm getting a little worried. We're a few issues behind at this point. We got to get to that discussion.
I know Luke's been ready to go, and
he's like, guys, I've already finished a couple other runs. So we've got to have some more discussions here. I don't want people to feel shortchanged by just getting this live discussion in podcast form. But hey, there's a lot of people that can't make this, and so we want to make sure that they're able to discuss this, because I don't really want to have yet another discussion about this for a podcast. So,
plus, we'll have a casual council coming out soon.
We have a casual council coming up, so I've only heard from a couple folks, but hey, I think we're going to do it this Saturday, so expect another casual council with our council members here soon. Anything else, Ollie?
That's all I have.
Luke, anything else?
No, let's just go watch it.
I'm about to finish up some pie and probably watch it for a third time. Guys, if you enjoyed anything out of this discussion, please hit that like button. And if you're enjoying it, subscribe as well. But Alejandro arrived late, but that's okay. May the force be with you as well, sir. We appreciate you showing up, at least here for the last couple seconds. But guys, I'm looking forward to another discussion next Friday. Like I said, if you enjoyed what you heard, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Expect the podcast out Monday, and expect, I don't know, maybe a few other discussions here, some juicy Darth Vader talk, and I'm sure the council is going to have a lot to say about this Ahsoka action and what we've been seeing here lately. We haven't talked to those guys for a while, so I'm looking forward to that. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks, and we will see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. on any podcast feed in which you receive podcasts. So we will talk to you soon, and as always, folks, may the force be with you.